The scatter brush allowed us to take a single piece of artwork and have multiple iterations of that artwork be distributed along the stroke. With an art brush, however, we take one piece of artwork and only that one piece of artwork gets distributed on that stroke, but that piece of artwork then can be distorted or stretched along that stroke. I have this file called artbrush.ai open. You'll find it in chapter 12 of your exercise files. But I'm going to come over here to the brushes panel and let's take a look at some of the art brushes that ship with Illustrator. For example, this one here called Floral Spoke. I'll choose that one, choose my paintbrush tool, and I'll click and I'll drag. And you'll notice that right now that piece of artwork was kind of stretched along this particular path. Just like any of the other brushes that we've used until now, if I go into outline mode by pressing Command Y or Control Y, I see that what I've created is just one path, but a piece of artwork which was defined was stretched along that path. Just to give you a better idea of what's happening here, should I create a path that looks like this, I'll see that that artwork is now stretched along that particular path as well. Let me delete these and let's see how we can create our own art brush. In this particular file here, I have this surfboard. I can select that surfboard, come to the brushes panel, click Create New Brush, and specify New Art Brush. When I click OK, I now see a dialog box over here, which I can now choose to rename. Let's call it Surfboard. Again, it's always good to give a name to your particular brushes. I could leave the width set to 100 over here, and I could set the proportional one so that it always scales in proportion. I'm going to leave that actually unchecked because sometimes you do want it to see stretched along a path. You could determine which direction the artwork gets stretched along the path, and you could also choose to flip it along or across, but we'll leave everything set to default right now. I'm going to click OK. And now when I use my paintbrush tool with that particular surfboard, I can click and drag a path and see that I can basically pull that surfboard along that path. If I draw a very short path, I get something that looks almost like a leaf for that matter, but I can also create a surfboard that's kind of skewed in other directions as well. There are some really great examples of art brushes inside of Illustrator. I'm going to go over here to this little pop-up, choose arrows, and then choose, let's do arrow standard. I can take, let's say, for example, this one. It looks like a regular triangle for that matter, but notice what happens when I go ahead and I use this brush. It almost creates a line that starts out very thick but then tapers to very, very thin. There are many times when you need to create something like this for logos or illustrations, and it's actually a wonderful way of working. You could also, of course, use arrows as well, and what's great is that the arrows can be twisted or applied in any particular location. So definitely play around with some of the art brushes that Illustrator ships with, and remember, it's easy enough to create your own as well.